Hello, everyone, and welcome to another video here on the Sports Daily Media Network YouTube channel. I'm your host, Sean Vowells. I've got Joe Meade with me also, and tonight we are going over our college football playoff predictions. We still released ours last week, no video because we were too busy, but we're back here sort of talking through our picks. We sort of have just been no rhyme or reason really. We've been doing the conference champions and then going backwards. So Joe, let's start with that. Big Ten probably has the number one team in the country. I've got Ohio State first. I think it's you know everybody's prediction that they're going to win, or at least they're going to hold the Big Ten spot as of right now. I have got them first. Do you have the same?
I have Ohio State first now. I'm shuffling around LSU based on the fact that Clemson wins. Not necessarily not impressive, but certainly didn't hold the weight it was. And I grossly overrated Clemson, as did most broadcasters around the country. Not an excuse, but it is what it is.
Yep, there will be no Clemson for us here, and they might already be eliminated, Joe. They have three
They're
losses,
gone. They're gone.
and unfortunately for them, but we've got the SEC up next, Joe. Likely multiple teams from that league will be in the college football playoff, but let's start with your SEC champion.
My SEC champion is the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm still more than impressed by their performance against Tennessee, which kind of like my team this week, had they taken better advantage of situations and finished drives, they could have won the game by multiple scores against a pretty good Tennessee team, I'd say.
All right, so which spot do you have them in?
I have Georgia at two.
Okay, I have got them one spot behind in third. They're also my SEC champion, though. All right, down the list, Joe, we did have a big game in the Big 12 last week between Texas Tech and Utah. Utah was holding my spot in the top 12. I believe they were in your top 12, but you had a different champion. So let's go through the Big 12 now. I'm going to pull up last week's because I did forget it, unfortunately. Let's see here. Yes, you had both Iowa State and Utah in the top 12, and so did I, actually. Who will your Big 12 champion be, and where will they be going?
My Big 12 champion will stay the Iowa State Cyclones. I I really want to go against picking Texas Tech after one big game. I think the slow start to that game really hurt Utah more than anything. But I think Texas Tech would be on my outskirts as of now. I just need to see a
Yep.
little more. I know the talent. I just want to see more performance of said talent.
Yep, I will be sticking with Iowa State also. They will be 11th for me. It is a little bit of a downgrade from 8th, where I had them last week. You had them 9th last week. Where will they be for you this time?
I had Iowa State ninth last time.
Yes.
Yes, I did. And Iowa State will stay at ninth. That's why I
Okay.
got confused. Like, yeah, they're staying right where they are.
Yep, Texas Tech for me was the first team out. I think they're really impressive, and from an NIL point of view, they have emptied the clip in terms of building a roster. I think they're definitely the second best team in that league as of now, but still, there's a lot of good teams there. TCU is pretty good. Baylor isn't bad. They score a lot of points, so we could see some chaos there in the Big 12. All right, Joe, we've got one. No, we have one more power conference, and that is the ACC. I think Miami is your champion because they are mine. So let's put the Hurricanes in the top 12. They got all the way up to second in the AP poll. I left them at sixth in my top 25. Some people weren't happy about that. I just didn't really see a ton from the top teams to move them around. But where will Miami be in this top 12 for you?
Miami will be fifth. I am I'm not moved by anything against Florida. I think they kind of just did what a top five team should do to a team that's talented, but clearly Miami's better than for a variety of reasons. coaching is what everyone's going to harp on. I'm not going to do that on this podcast, but Miami will stay in fifth for me, Sean.
Yep, they will occupy the fifth spot for me also. I think they are good, but I don't know if they're on the top elite national champion threat yet. Now, people might get mad at that, but they've played a very close game against Notre Dame that could have gone either way. They did smoke USF, which was impressive, but the ACC is pretty good, and I don't know if they are above their annual mess up. They've had one of those in a number of years. I don't know if they're above that quite yet. That's why they're holding the fifth spot for me. All right, Joe, let's complete our automatic bids. We had a lot of action over the past couple weeks with the teams that are presumed to be at the top of the Group 5. We had USF losing to Miami, like I said. We had Tulane, who were my pick last week, get absolutely throttled in Oxford against Ole Miss. Your team, UNLV, needed a double-digit second-half comeback to beat winless Miami, Ohio. UNLV is still undefeated. They have had a couple of close calls, but to me, the Group 5 spot, I think 5 teams I considered for this. Will you be sticking with UNLV, or will you be going in a different direction?
No, I'm not going to die on the hill any longer. I'm going with the Memphis Tigers.
All right, same with me. Now, I do not have them over there on the left, so we're going to have to do this on the spot. I've also got Memphis in 12th. Navy was the other team that I was considering. I think USF or Tulane could still do it. It's just like the Boise State model from last year, right? You played one really good team, Boise stuck around, and they beat everybody else. Will sort of the manner of those losses come back to haunt the green teams in Tulane and USF? I think it might as of now. Memphis got a win against Arkansas. They will be holding the 12th spot for me at this point. All right, Joe, we've got 7 spots left. So why don't you pick a conference, and we'll go through it and see if we have multiple teams.
In third, I have the LSU Tigers. I still think they're a top 5 team. Even if they lose to Ole Miss this weekend, it wouldn't shock me. They're actually 2.5-point underdogs last I checked. But I do think they win that game, and I think LSU in year 4, Brian Kelly really has something brewing.
Yep, I've got LSU in 6th. Just sort of unfortunate. They haven't looked great in a couple games recently. Clemson hasn't looked great. I think their ceiling might not be as high as we initially thought. But LSU, I think, still comfortably in for me in 6th. All right, Joe, I have got 2 more SEC teams in. How many do you have left?
I have 2 more as well.
Okay, so I'm assuming one of those would be the Texas Longhorns and Arch Manning. So let's throw them in. They will be 7th for me.
They will also be 7th for me, and we'll touch on the second one later, but I'm going to caveat something, and I know you will too.
So Texas 7th, that's sort of a projection play, really. They haven't played an SEC game yet. They do have somebody big. We'll find out about them. Like, I don't think we're going to be wondering if they're going to be in or not. They'll either be in or they won't. The final SEC team for me, Joe, is going to be a team that I've had in a bunch here over I think the last 2 times we did it. I've slotted them in. It's my dark horse pick for Heisman. I think they've got a great running back too, and I'm going to go with Missouri in 9th.
My second SEC team is Texas A&M. I think the receiving core and the quarterback play have really stepped up. I think Mike Elko is a terrific coach. I think last year was kind of unfortunate. He didn't get the love he deserved. And a lot of first-year head coaches didn't because of the unfair I'm really calling it the unfair bar cursing that he did set at Indiana by going 11-1 and making the playoff. But I do think he's a heck of a coach. I'm not going to bet against him, especially with that talent. And the last thing I'll say about the SEC, Sean, I would have included Oklahoma probably in place of Texas A&M at 11, and maybe even replaced them with Texas. But the news today: Jama Tier, wrist injury, surgery, out for probably a month. I was going to pick them to win Red River. Probably not anymore unless I see something different out of Hawkins. So Oklahoma would have been in had I not found that out before the show.
So what spot will A&M be taking for you? 11?
11.
Yeah, the Mateer injury is really unfortunate for them. Now, that affects the Heisman race. That affects college football playoff. The 3 games he will definitely be missing is a home game to Kent State. Please take care of business there. Red River, as you said, I believe that's on the road. And then it's...
Well, right now it's just the Cotton Bowl. Yeah.
It's just so sort of on the road. And then South Carolina, I think, let me double check real quick, is their 3rd game. And then their 4th game is Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to find a way to win a real game without him, I think.
Yeah.
And still, like, he's been playing Superman this year. He's the reason why they beat Michigan. So can they do that? I don't know. I think it's a really tough blow for them because, same, Joe, they would have been in the 10th spot for me if that had not happened. Unfortunately, it did, so they're going to be out now. From a bracketology point of view, if Mateer comes back and they look really good again, does the committee sort of throw away those games? We've seen that in college basketball. We saw it in football when Jordan Travis got injured for Florida State and didn't come back, and they didn't look great without him. They were judged on the games without him. So that is something to look out for already, because John Mateer is probably the most valuable player to his team in the country. And unfortunately, he's going to be down for at least a month. They do have a bye this week, so maybe there's a chance that they can sneak a win with their backup. But tough situation there for Oklahoma. All right, Joe, that is it for the SEC for us. We've still got 4 more spots each. Let's go to the Big Ten, where I'm assuming there's at least 1, probably 2 more teams in. For me, I'll be leading off the way with Penn State, still occupying that 2nd spot. They have got, there's at least 2 more, maybe 3 more. Penn State will be 2nd for me. Great opportunity this week against Oregon to stake their claim for a top 4 seed. I know we haven't seen much from them this year, but this is more of a projection than anything. I've got Penn State 2nd.
I got Penn State as the 2nd Big Ten team, but in the 4th overall spot, Sean. I'm not going to just piggyback off what you said. I think, you got to put up or shut up. I think to be a top 4 seed, you got to win one of these games against Oregon and Ohio State and not drop one you shouldn't. So here's the first of the 2 big games we've circled on Penn State's schedule all year. So buckle up.
They probably might not even be in position to host a college football playoff game without, we do this next week. They lose to Oregon. They're probably not. They're probably still in our projections, but not in. They'll probably be going on the road rather than getting a bye. So a big one for them. All right, let's go out west. Oregon, Joe, their opponents. They're likely holding a spot in the college football playoff as of now. Super explosive offense. Where do you have the Ducks?
I got the Ducks in 6th. Kind of the same deal. I know Dan Lanning, proofs in the pudding. I know the talent. What's unproven is Dante Moore, and can that rush offense get going? And can Dante Moore make plays when that rush offense isn't going? That's why they're in 6th and not above a Penn State, or certainly not going to be above Ohio State till they beat someone.
They are 4th for me. Huge 3 weeks for them at Penn State, by home to Indiana. If they get through there without a loss, they will probably be playing in the Big Ten title game. If they do lose both, then they will be playing for their season in the middle of October, which is not something that we expected. All right, 8 and 10 remaining for us, Joe. Will there be another Big Ten team taking one of these spots?
There will be 2.
Wow.
At 8, I have the Indiana Hoosiers. Now, I don't think Illinois is a great team. I think they're a good team, as Sean and I have discussed in our In a Nutshell podcast. Please give that a listen if you have not already. But Indiana, to me, because of the way the lines of scrimmage looked in that game against an objectively pretty good, even if you want to call it above mediocre team, fine. that was total domination. And with that schedule, I think Indiana, if they win one of those, might even host. But I don't see them, barring them dropping a game they shouldn't, which could always happen. Until proven otherwise, until they look weak this year, Indiana in the eighth spot.
I have also got them in the 8th spot. I think the style points from this Illinois game are going to take them a long way. I think they're still probably in this spot with 2 losses. And assuming those 2 teams, being Penn State and Oregon, do continue to be the elite teams that they are, I think this prediction for me is with a win against Iowa this week and 2 losses. And that is, we talked about it in our season preview. Would that be enough to get in? I think it will be at this point. Now, do we even get there? Probably not. Probably something else happens. But I have Indiana, Missouri in Bloomington, which will be a good one if it happens. You've got Iowa State and Rocco Becht going to Bloomington. That'll be a good one too if it happens. But yeah, Indiana, big statement. Obviously, more than just a win against Illinois. I had Illinois in last week. I had Indiana pretty close on the way out, on the outside, and they come in for me and they come in for you. Joe, if anybody's seen any of our other videos, they do know who you're going to put in the 10th. But in case we have any new viewers, who's going there in the 10th spot?
I got the Washington Huskies. I'm not shy as we shoot this on September the 23rd of 2025 that I think they're going to beat Ohio State. I think they're going to beat one of Ohio State or Oregon. Uh, as I say for each time I justify Washington, Damon Williams is a great quarterback. Denzel Boston is one of the best receiving threats in the country. And then I think Jonah Coleman's the best running back in the Big Ten Conference. And Jed Fish's play calling, good pressure rate on defense. I think those are all 4 things that win a lot of football games. And I think Washington gets it at that 10 slot.
You have 5 Big Ten teams. That's a lot. Possible. And I think Joe Washington is probably in the 25 to 30 range for me right now. They might get in the top 12 if they beat Ohio State. And I talked about this on another video. If they look good and lose, I might bring them into my top 25. Now, that doesn't really make sense, but they are playing for a lot here against Ohio State this week. I think even if they lose, again, that's against the spirit of the game, but they're playing for a lot more than that. All right, my last spot, Joe, will be a team that neither of us have put in yet this year. And they had a big statement win week 1 against the Crimson Tide. They just blew the doors off them, and then they've taken care of their bye games since. But with Clemson falling in the ACC, I am going to go down to Tallahassee, the team that got unfairly left out of the last 4-team college football playoff 2 years ago. I'm going to go with Tommy Castellanos and Florida State into the college football playoff at 10. I think the vibes around that team are really, really good. They host Miami, and they don't play some of the other important game teams on the road in the ACC. So I think the path is open for the Seminoles to get to the college football playoff, and I'm assuming it's going to be game day. It's October 4th, I believe, against Miami. That'll be an interesting one to see how the ACC pecking order lines up. But, they haven't really done much since they did beat Alabama. They have a road game on Friday against Virginia. That could be a little bit of a sleepy spot. They're still more than touchdown favorites, but I like Florida State a lot this year. They're fun to watch, and they seem to have shaken off last year's the stench of last year's ugly 2-10 season already. They are playing with confidence. Their defense is flying to the ball. Wasn't hard for me to put them in. But, Joe, that is it for our college football playoff predictions. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you have any questions, comments, throw them in the comment section. There'll be a post about this one around when this video comes out, and we'll be sure to see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.